Right now at 5, a car crash results in the death of 4 people over the weekend.
We've got ourselves more chances for scattered pop-up thunderstorms across the area. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
And a car crash ends up in the deck of an apartment complex.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's another mild start, a little bit on the muggy side out there for us today. And we've got ourselves another opportunity for some pop-up thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon. In fact, let me skip this ahead to the future track and we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at those chances for those pop-up storms this afternoon. We head into the noon hour, nothing. We get about 1, 2 o'clock, start to see some of these scattered pop-up storms around the area. And they will continue again as we head into the evening hours across the region. Here we are at 4. Here we go by 6, lined up just south of the 54 corridor. And then, of course, once we lose the daytime heating, we do start to lose those pop-up thunderstorms, and they will return again as we head into our Tuesday afternoon. We go about noon, 2 o'clock, more pop-up storms around the region. And then again, as we lose the daytime heating, we will start to lose those pop-up thunderstorms. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, looking back to the south, looking all right this morning. And same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, just south of Pittsburgh. Our camera at 7th and range line, looking good. We got clear skies, 63 in Joplin. Dew point at 59, humidity 80%. So again, a little bit muggy, but temperatures aren't as warm as they were last week. 64 Fort Scott, 65 Pittsburgh, 67 Parsons, 63 Miami, and 62 in Neosho. We get our morning started. Sunny skies, maybe a few clouds here and there, otherwise not bad. And of course, that lets us warm up pretty quickly. Low 80s by late morning, highs today, once again, upper 80s, near 90 degrees. We'll start to see partly cloudy skies as we go into the afternoon. And then those pop-up thunderstorm chances we head into this evening. And we drop back down to another nice mild evening into the low to mid 60s across the area. And we'll hold on to those partly cloudy skies as well. And as we head into the rest of this work week, again, pop-up storms tomorrow, low 90s. Wednesday, pop-up storms possible, but they look to be considerably more isolated, low 90s. The rain pauses Thursday and Friday, and believe it or not, we start to cool down a bit, back through the lower 80s, and then we head into this weekend. We've got better thunderstorm chances, which is good news because we do need that rain, and we'll hold on to those through at least Monday next week, back into the upper 70s. Then we clear out again, partly cloudy skies, temperatures returning to the lower 80s. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A car crash results in the deaths of 4 people over the weekend in Lawrence County, Missouri. The crash took place around 11 a.m. on Saturday morning near Lawrence County, between Mount Vernon and Aurora. Troopers say a Toyota Corolla crossed the center line and struck 5 motorcycles. 4 people died, all from Aurora. A total of 10 people riding on bikes were either killed or suffered serious injuries. The driver, also from Aurora, was arrested for DWI, resulting in the death of 2 or more persons. She suffered serious injuries and was transported to Cox South by ambulance. You can read more about this story, including the names of the victims, on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Car crash in Stone County ends up in the deck of an apartment complex. The crash happened just after 6 p.m. Sunday night in Notch, Missouri, just north of Silver Dollar City. The driver suffered non-life-threatening injuries in what authorities call a single vehicle versus building accident. Emergency crews responded to stabilize the structure and recover the vehicle. 2 teens are dead and 4 others are injured after a shooting in Columbia, Missouri. It happened early Sunday morning at a vacant residence on Oak Brook Drive. Deputies responded to reports of shots fired and found a party at the residence. Authorities say a verbal altercation escalated into gunfire between 2 groups, resulting in 6 teens shot. A 16 and 17-year-old were killed. 4 teens between the ages of 16 and 19 received non-life-threatening injuries. No suspects have been arrested. A Lamar, Missouri man is arrested for allegedly sharing explicit photographs with an underage girl. The Barton County Sheriff's Office last month began investigating inappropriate communication between the man and girl on social media. Authorities say the man shared the images after evidence was discovered on his personal cell phone. The man was arrested last Wednesday. Police are requesting the charge of sexual exploitation of a minor. And prosecutors file felony kidnapping charges against a homeless man after authorities say he grabbed a child at Joplin's Third Thursday last month. Police say a 5-year-old girl was by a bouncy house near 3rd and Main when 28-year-old Johnny Earhart grabbed her. The girl's mother and bystanders confronted Earhart and prevented him from getting away. He was then arrested, and the child was unharmed. Earhart also faces charges in McDonald County of felony vehicle tampering from an incident in January. Well, the man accused of killing a retired Missouri State professor will likely spend the rest of his life in a state mental health lockup. The judge found Edward Gutting not guilty by reason of insanity. Francis Watson has the details.
It's been 7 really long years.
Nancy Cooper recalling the night former Missouri State University instructor Edward Gutting forced his way into her home. Prosecutors say he was in a drunken rage when he stabbed retired Missouri State University professor Mark Cooper more than 40 times. Defense attorneys argued that the diagnosed schizophrenic was having a psychotic episode. Cooper's family now left behind to pick up the pieces after Gutting was found not guilty by reason of insanity for the brutal attack that also left Mrs. Cooper hurt.
I think it would probably anger him that it didn't go the way that we think it should have.
Nancy says she has no doubts that Gutting had bad intentions.
I think he knew what he was doing that night, and it's very disheartening, but at the same time, I'm just glad it's over.
And says she's still trying to cope all these years later.
For a long time, I was disappointed every morning when I'd wake up. And I haven't had that feeling for a while now. But it's, besides going through that night, it's this process that was stretched out so long.
Gutting will remain in the state's Department of Mental Health, locked up, but not completely off the hook.
There's the possibility he could be released. I mean, that would be the difference. He seemed to be pretty high-functioning schizophrenic before all of this, and I don't doubt that he can get to that state again, which means he'll be out.
The Cooper family now focusing on living the life Mark would want them to.
Mark was a wonderful teacher. He was a wonderful person.
He was somebody who focused on life, and I think he would want us to be able to move on.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we meet an avid softball player who bonds with an older college student. And it's Pride Month. We take you to Philadelphia, where they're keeping the history of the LGBTQ plus community alive and in American history. And how sleep apnea is connected to a smaller brain volume. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, an Oklahoma 5th grader is an avid softball player despite the amputation of one of her legs. She's bonded with a college player and says the older athlete inspires her. Nikki Marker has the story.
Gemma Gallman, a 5th grader living in Tuttle, Oklahoma, was born with an extremely rare condition where her tibia, ankle, and knee were all missing. The result? An amputation of her right leg at only 9 months old. Although, that has not stopped her in the slightest.
She's more of a, I'll show you with my actions instead of my words.
In addition to starting softball at the age of 4, Gemma loves to attend Oklahoma softball games. A particular player in the 2021 World Series caught her eye. As Mackenzie Donahue leaped into right field catching an almost unattainable ball, Gemma was hooked.
She put a lot of effort into catching it, so she was really excited that, I don't know, that's why she really liked Mackenzie, because she gave a lot of effort.
Sharing the same hitting and pitching coach, they were able to meet in person. 2 years later, Donahue is now an infielder for the University of Tennessee. Their friendship sustained through the transfer, and Gemma and her family even got to take a trip to Knoxville to throw the first pitch at the Lady Vols game.
I was so scared. My heart was racing, but it was kind of fun after.
Did it help that Kinsey was catching it for you? Did it help calm you down?
Gemma's mom, Tamara Gallman, says her daughter is encouraging her every day.
Because, you know, there's times in your life where you kind of be like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? But then I can't because I have a kid over here who I constantly tell, we don't say that. We don't say we can.
She speaks highly of Donahue. Despite being a busy Division I athlete, she still makes time to support Gemma.
So she kind of connects with her on a different level so that she really feels like that's someone she can talk to, which is, I think, is absolutely amazing.
Many are amazed by the relationship between the two, but Gemma doesn't see herself as different from anyone else.
Because everybody's like, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal.
The feelings are mutual, as Donahue posted a tweet about their friendship.
Well, still to come, a UK zoo welcomes the birth of a rare monkey. And we got another check of those pop-up storms in our Monday forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:15, almost 5:16 on this Monday morning. We got another round of pop-up thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon. So let's head into the afternoon. Here we go, about 2 o'clock. Start to see some of the initial pop-up storms developing around the region. And as we go through the afternoon, we'll see a few more of these scattered around the area. And they will continue again until we lose the heating of the day. So about 9 o'clock, they'll die back out. Then we'll head into tomorrow afternoon, right around the noon hour. We'll see a couple of stray showers, and that'll evolve into a few more scattered pop-up storms around the region. And again, once we get into the evening, about 9 o'clock, lose that daytime heating, we will once again lose those pop-up storms. As we head into our Wednesday, we're still looking at the possibility of a stray storm or two, but as you can see, it's a lot more isolated. We may only see a couple of those as we head into our Wednesday before we pause for a couple of days later this week. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, looking good so far, and staying from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, just south of Pittsburgh. Our camera, 7th and Range Line. It's hard to see right now, but I assure you we've got clear skies. We're sitting at 63, a little cooler than last week, but a little muggy as well still. 59 dew point, 87% humidity. Temperatures around the region look about like this. We got 65 in Nevada, Lamar, Pittsburgh, 67 in Parsons, 63 Chatopa, Miami, and sitting at 62 in Neosho. We get our morning started. We should be clear to mostly clear, maybe a couple of clouds here and there, but that will allow us to be quite warm later as we go into the low 80s once again by late morning. And of course, that means we're going to be warm again today. Temperatures pushing into the upper 80s near 90. Start transition to partly cloudy skies as we head into the afternoon ahead of those pop-up storms. And then once they're done, we'll stay mild again, partly cloudy overnight and low to mid 60s for our overnight lows. And as we look ahead, we're going to start to see a break. So we got the good storm chances tomorrow. Low 90s Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, we cool back just a bit. We start dipping down into the lower 80s. And then by this upcoming weekend, we've got better organized thunderstorm chances by this weekend. Temperatures starting to return to roughly mid 80s. Then we'll cool back down again briefly. And as we start the next work week, a couple of showers here or there. Then we'll go partly cloudy Tuesday, Wednesday next week. And temperatures returning to the low 80s. Well, June is LGBTQ plus Pride Month, and the city of Philadelphia carries a rich history boasting more nationally significant LGBTQ plus historic markers than any other city in the world. Jim Donovan reports on the stories behind Philadelphia's LGBTQ plus historical markers.
This is probably the most iconic.
For over 15 years, Bob Skiba has curated the John J. Wilcox Jr. LGBT archives at the William Way Center.
As an LGBT historian, I feel like my job is to make sure that queer history is part of American history. People have been fighting for LGBT rights for 50 plus years now, and kids need to know that, and the community needs to know that.
While the Liberty Bell, Betsy Ross House, and Independence Hall get all the attention, Bob says other stories need to be told too. And that's where historical markers can help. This one in the Rittenhouse Square neighborhood marks the spot of Dewey's, a hamburger joint where LGBT customers were denied service in the mid-1960s.
They were not carrying on, they were not damaging property, they were refused simply because of the way that they looked.
So a sit-in was organized.
Based very clearly on the African American sit-ins that were going on, they had a sit-in over a couple of days, and by the end of the next week, the management reversed their position and said, we will serve anyone.
The first LGBT historical marker in the city is here at the corner of 6th and Chestnut, directly across the street from Independence Hall.
It was where the first organized, regularly recurring marches for gay rights happened every 4th of July from 1965 to 1969.
Among those demonstrators was Barbara Giddings. This historical marker at 21st and Locust refers to her as the mother of the LGBT civil rights movement.
She was one of those people, along with activists in New York and D.C., who put these demonstrations together at a time when a lot of people were saying, no, this is much too radical.
At 13th and Locust, a historical marker honors Edie Windsor. A Temple grad, in 2010, Windsor sued the government after she had to pay federal inheritance taxes on her wife's estate, seeking a refund because the Defense of Marriage Act singled out legally married same-sex couples for differential treatment. In June of 2013, she won her case.
The Supreme Court ruled that DOMA, which had existed, the Defense of Marriage Act, was unconstitutional. And that was really the beginning of the break that led to marriage equality in 2015.
Now, Philadelphia has more nationally significant LGBTQ plus historic markers than any other city in the world. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Do you celebrate Pride Month? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. You can vote through our website at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also do so in our app and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. And we will be back with Health Watch right after this.
Looking for organizations that regularly distribute.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a new study has identified a link between sleep apnea and smaller brain volume. This could increase the risk of dementia. The French study found that a part of the brain connected to memory shrank in people with severe sleep disordered breathing. That can include heavy snoring and sleep apnea. The brain area the study focused on was the hippocampus, which is part of the medial temporal lobe. Millions of Americans are not taking their medications as prescribed, and it's all due to cost. That's according to a new report from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It found that while most adults between the ages of 18 and 64 took at least one prescription medication in 2021, more than 8% of them said they tried to save money by skipping doses, taking less than prescribed, or delaying a prescription fill. That amounts to about 9.2 million people. As the weather gets warmer, many will head outdoors, but if you're one of the millions of Americans who live with asthma, this time of year can be hard on your lungs. Mandy Gaither has more on how summer weather can trigger severe asthma symptoms and how to help yourself avoid them.
The sun is out and the heat's rising. Mix in some humidity and it's the perfect recipe for thunderstorms. And research has shown this summer weather phenomenon may wreak havoc on those who suffer from asthma.
The moisture and the electricity of the thunderstorm break these pollens and other particulates into smaller pieces that then, with the storm, come back down and can be blown for long distances.
The smaller the particles, the easier they are to breathe in. So if you're at risk of severe asthma, this time of year may be hard on your lungs, says Dr. Laurie Manka with National Jewish Health.
Anybody who is at risk of worsening of asthma related to this, can really notice worsening of their symptoms and have increased risk of needing to go to the emergency room and even hospitalization following a phenomenon like this.
And it's not just storms. Manka says there are many triggers that can make asthma worse during the summer, including mold from heat and humidity, pollen from trees and grasses, and smoke from things like wildfires, which can travel long distances. She says to be aware of worsening symptoms, and since everyone is different, know your triggers. Have a plan with your doctor on what to do if symptoms worsen, and pay attention to the weather around you.
Where can I find local pollen counts? Where can I find the local air quality? And then taking that information and kind of adjusting your schedule appropriately.
Manka says some of the symptoms to be aware of include increased cough, chest tightness, shortness of breath, sinus congestion, and wheezing. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves another warm day today. We've also got another chance of some of those pop-up thunderstorms this afternoon. We'll take a look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, citywide yard sales happening all over the 4 states, and Baxter Springs, no exception.
We've got ourselves another warm day for us across the area and some afternoon pop-up thunderstorms. Take a look at that forecast coming up.
And local artists met at a local gallery with hopes of claiming a top prize.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's another not so warm morning, but another muggy morning out there because, well, we've got those shower and thunderstorm chances once again across the area for those pop-up storms at least. If we take a look at the future track, we head to this afternoon. We start to see some partly cloudy skies across the area, and then once we get 1, 2 o'clock, here come those pop-up storms again as they start to build across the area. Here we are at 4 again, scattered across the region, and they'll continue until we lose the heating of the day. So by about 8, 9 o'clock, they do start to die out. Then they will return as we head into our Tuesday afternoon, say around noon, a couple of stray showers, and then of course that will increase in coverage, especially across southeast Kansas. Looks like that's going to be the greatest concentration of pop-up storms. And then again, as we proceed into the evening, lose the daytime heating, we will lose those pop-up thunderstorms. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, looking back to the south, looking good so far, starting to get some daylight out there. Well, we've got a pretty good start from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, just south of Pittsburgh. Our camera, 7th and range line, a little more light in the sky this morning. We've got clear skies for the most part, 63 in Joplin, 87% humidity, and dew point at 59, so it is a bit on the muggy side, but not too bad otherwise. Around the area, 62 in Nevada, Fort Scott, 65 in Pittsburgh, 67 Parsons, Neodesha, 64 in Miami, and 63 in Neosho. We get our morning started looking good, maybe a few clouds out there here and there, otherwise not bad, into the low 80s by late morning. We head into the afternoon, highs today pushing into the upper 80s, near 90. Partly cloudy skies build in. We start to see those shower and thunderstorm chances. And then once they're done, we go back to partly cloudy and back into the low to mid 60s for our overnight lows. And as we look ahead, not too bad. We got the better chances tomorrow for storms, low 90s, much lower chances on Wednesday, breaking the rain Thursday and Friday. And then we head into this weekend. We've actually got opportunities for some meaningful thunderstorm chances as we head into this weekend. Temperatures low to mid 80s. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Missouri Highway Patrol wants to remind people to remember their wake at the lake this summer. Summertime means more time at lakes and around Missouri, and increased boat traffic can also mean an increase in wakes. Troopers seek to minimize not only the damage to docks and erosion to the shorelines, but the danger to other lake goers. And while they say operating a boat at plowing speed is a necessity at times, should not be the norm. For a full list of safety do's and don'ts, you can visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Please have a safe summer. What seemed to be the weekend for citywide garage sales, and that was definitely the case in Baxter Springs. Saturday's sale attracted hundreds of eager shoppers. The event featured an extensive selection of items ranging from furniture and clothing to electronics and collectibles. With participation from several households, the sale not only allowed residents to declutter their homes, but also fostered a vibrant sense of community among neighbors. Some local artists met at the Maple Uncommon Guest House and Gallery with hopes of claiming top prize. Over 63 pieces of locally crafted art were up on display at the gallery, with members of the Joplin Regional Arts Coalition as judges. Officials say the top 3 pieces will land local artists a cash prize and that every piece is up for grabs.
63 unique individual pieces from our artists from the 4 states region. Many of these people are artists. You never know, some of them might be critics. They will be picking their favorite pieces actually throughout the month of June and July.
The event was free and open to the public. Refreshments were provided. Old Mining Town Days kicked off in Granby, Missouri over the weekend. Families of all ages had the opportunity to get outside and celebrate the town. The event included performances from live bands, games for the kiddos, and a variety of food vendors.
Old Mining Town Days, and since the beginning of our town in 1850, we've had celebrations, but since 1984, it's been called Old Mining Town Days, and it's just to recognize the amazing history of this area. We had lead mining here, we had some tough characters back in the old days, and so we like to commemorate those tough characters and their wives once every year.
You can always find out more about upcoming local events on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Wildcat Glades Education Cottage in Joplin taught about an insect collection and display program. The goal of the program was to show adults how to collect and display their own insects. Participants were given their own small insect display kit to practice new skills and collecting and to perfect their art.
And entomology is the study of them, so a lot of people are interested in collecting and displaying them, both because they're beautiful and interesting. Insects are amazing creatures that are often dismissed, but they are awesome and they are important in the ecosystem.
Yes, they are. The program began at 10 a.m. and ended at noon on Saturday. Well, this morning we're discussing the history of LGBTQ+.
For over 15 years, Bob Skiba has curated the John J. Wilcox Jr. LGBTQ+ archives at the William Way Center in Philadelphia. While the Liberty Bell, Betsy Ross House, and Independence Hall get all the attention, Skiba says other stories need to be told too, and that's where historical markers can help. There's one in the Rittenhouse Square neighborhood that marks the spot of Dewey's, a hamburger joint where LGBTQ+ customers were denied service back in the mid-60s.
So a sit-in was organized, and it was based on the sit-ins done by African Americans in the country. The first LGBTQ+ historical marker in the city is at the corner of 6th and Chestnut Streets, directly across the street from Independence Hall.
And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Are you celebrating Pride Month? So far, 14% of you say that you are, 86% of you say that you are not. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A teen builds a roller coaster in his own backyard, and yes, it is functional.
Plus, talk about some drama, some llama drama, that is. A llama stops traffic in England. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Lamar, Missouri's Square. Topping World Watch, new details about a disturbing discovery, a gruesome discovery in Mexico. Police found 45 bags containing human body parts outside of Guadalajara, a major city in western Mexico. As Patrick Gottman reports, it's likely connected to the disappearance of workers at a phone call center.
The bodies were found in bags, discarded in a ravine. Grisly murders that have shocked even Mexicans weary of years of rampant violence, often connected to drug cartels. Investigators say at least 45 bags were found containing human remains outside Guadalajara, Mexico. Some of the bags had broken open.
All the bags that we found are closed and obviously taped, packed. We found some segments on the precipice, ravine, that we believe that when they were placed or thrown there, some bags must have torn. And that's how we found some segments. In a preliminary manner, we can say that there are female and male bodies, but we need to wait for the Institute to confirm.
Officials say the bodies appear to match the physical characteristics of some of the 7 missing employees of a call center in Guadalajara, but it's unclear how many victims there are. Missing since late May, their family members have demanded police investigate their disappearances. We want them alive and well, say family members, as they marched in the streets before the discovery of the bodies, calling on Mexican officials to do more. The families say their relatives went to work like any normal day, but then their phones went dark.
At 2:50 p.m., my messages and calls didn't go through. It was only voicemail and the phone was off. After that, there was no more communication with him.
Mexican officials say their investigation has uncovered alleged criminal activity at the call center, but they have not said if there are any suspects behind the killings.
The first indicators are it involves people carrying out some kind of real estate fraud and some kind of telephone extortions.
The sad reality is disappearances and brutal mass killings happen all too often in Mexico, where tens of thousands of people, according to human rights groups, are believed to have been murdered and buried in unmarked graves. Just in Jalisco State, where this latest massacre took place, 1,500 bodies have been found since 2019, according to prosecutors there. And throughout Mexico, more than 110,000 people are missing. And while this latest grisly massacre has generated more headlines and outrage than is usually the case, there are no guarantees family members will receive justice.
Well, a train crash in India's eastern Odisha state injures more than 100 people. Accident happened on Friday when local media reported an express passenger train collided with a goods train. Rescuers were seen carrying injured people to ambulances while others tried to escape the train on their own. 3 National Disaster Rescue Force teams and 4 Odisha Disaster Rapid Action Force teams were dispatched to the site along with 60 ambulances to help in rescue operations. No word on what caused the crash. June 4th, 1989, Chinese troops broke up peaceful protest in Beijing's Tiananmen Square. Protesters, many of them young people, had spent weeks demonstrating for political change. An unknown number of demonstrators were killed, injured, or jailed as the communist nation crushed the democracy movement. And the colors of Italy fill the sky to mark the 77th anniversary of the formation of the Italian Republic. Hundreds of people watched as 9 military planes performed a flyover in Rome, releasing smoke in the green, white, and red colors of the Italian flag. Annual event marks the anniversary of the birth of the Italian Republic after a referendum held on June 2nd, 1946, in which Italians chose between monarchy and republic following World War II. One of Russia's most revered icons, Andrei Rublev Trinity, has been moved from a gallery to the Christ the Savior Cathedral in Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered the move despite an outcry by art historians who were concerned about the harm that could come to the painting by moving it. The artwork is 700 years old. The Russian art community spoke up against the decision in an open letter to the head of the Ministry of Culture, expressing concern that transporting the painting could expose it to danger due to the climate and vibrations during the move. Well, across the pond, drivers had to deal with some llama drama. A llama on the loose was caught on camera strolling through the streets of Lancashire in northern England. Animal brought traffic to a halt as drivers watched him saunter by. Police were called to the scene and apprehended the animal, who was quite friendly to the officer who escorted him to safety. He was trying to say, "Llama, llama, where's your mama?" The amusing incident captured the attention of local residents and quickly gained attention on social media. And it's an especially happy time at a zoo in Chester, England, as staff members and visitors celebrate the birth of one of the world's most endangered primates. A Sulawesi crested macaque, a rare type of monkey, was born at the Chester Zoo on May 16th to Rumpel, its mother, and Mamasa, its father. The youngster has not yet been named. Curious to see what another creative name they'll get. The new arrival can be observed running around and climbing on tree branches and its enclosure. Ah, cutie there. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Take a moment, transport yourself back in time. Say Thursday, Friday, Saturday last week. And this is all going to start to sound fairly familiar. We head into this afternoon. It's going to be warm. It's going to be muggy. And there will be additional pop-up thunderstorms across the area. So this rain, all of it much needed. We just need more meaningful rainfall out of this activity. And unfortunately, with pop-up storms, we don't really get that. We get some rain, which is great, but we just don't get enough to make a difference, unfortunately. But here we are. just like the last several days, pop-up thunderstorms as we head into this afternoon, starting right around 2 o'clock or so. Because they're feeding off the daytime heating, as the evening progresses, they'll begin to die out. And then we'll head into tomorrow, and we'll see this repeat with additional pop-up thunderstorms. Better chances for them in southeast Kansas, but everybody could get in on a pop-up storm or two as we head through the afternoon on Tuesday. We go into the evening, and here we are about the same time, 9 o'clock. They're gone again. Then we go into our Wednesday, and unfortunately for our Wednesday, pop-up storms are there, but they're expected to be considerably more isolated, as you can see, and they're very brief. So we don't really see much out of that, and we go into the lower 90s between tomorrow and into our Wednesday. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, looking to the south. Got a few clouds out there, otherwise not too bad. And same from KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. Our camera at 7th and range line. Few clouds, otherwise clear skies, looking pretty good. 63 in Joplin, a little bit muggy, 59 dew point, 87% humidity. And as we look at temperatures around the region, they look like this: 63 Nevada, 64 Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Lamar, 67 in Parsons, Neodesha, 68 Chanute, 64 in Miami, and 63 in Neosho. We get our morning started again, mostly clear skies, a couple of clouds out there, warming up quickly, low 80s by late morning. Highs today, upper 80s, pushing near 90. Isolated thunderstorm chances this afternoon into the early evening. And we drop back into the mid to upper 60s. We look ahead. We're going to dry out briefly Thursday and Friday after going low 90s tomorrow and Wednesday. And then we've got those meaningful rainfall chances as we head into this upcoming weekend. Temperatures in the 80s. Let's check your forecast. Now, we're going to take another live look from Lamar's downtown.
A high school student in New Jersey is taking his passion for roller coasters to new heights without leaving home. Louis Biondolio checks it out and even takes a ride.
From Six Flags to the shore, New Jersey is known for its thrill rides. But one of the state's newest roller coasters can be found in a backyard. 17-year-old Sammy Trachak built Shadow Stalker, and it only took him a year to make it.
It did take a long time to make. Obviously, the easy parts was really the structure. The station was up in under a week.
Trachak says he had a lot of help with the design process from his friends.
And then it was just a lot of like the hardest stuff was like the technology, which was mainly Jack's big thing. Jack designed the whole car. He basically designed the whole turn for me and built the whole turn by hand.
Believe it or not, this isn't the first coaster he's created.
I actually did my very, very first one when I was in 5th grade. And then my dad had mentioned like, all right, it's time to build a new one.
Shadow Stalker is his third ride, and the most complex.
I think my favorite part has just been watching how excited it makes him to make it all come together, to get people to come ride it, and really just get everyone excited about it.
While I'm here, you know I just had to get a ride on Shadow Stalker. Let's do it, but remember, safety first. Let's do it. The coaster's not completely done yet. The team is working on a lift system that can bring the car all the way to the top. But for now, it's manual labor.
That's pretty cool. Looks like a lot of fun. We'll be right back. Well, you've heard about a message in a bottle, but what about a message in a bottle that'll end up in space? NASA wants you to get in on its Europa Clipper mission by adding your name to an original poem penned by a U.S. poet, Ada Lyman, titled In Praise of Mystery, a poem for Europa. Now, the poem will be aboard the spacecraft when it blasts off in October of 2024. Spacecraft will then travel billions of miles away to Jupiter's moon, Europa, where it will investigate if the ocean thought to lie beneath Europa's icy crust could support life. An international team of scientists at Illinois' Northwestern University are stunned by the discovery of hundreds of mysterious structures in the center of the Milky Way galaxy. The one-dimensional cosmic threads are horizontal or radial filaments, slender, elongated bodies of luminous gas that potentially originated a few million years ago. According to a study published Friday in the astrophysical journal Letters, the filaments are relatively short in length, each measuring 5 to 10 light years. The findings come nearly 40 years after the study's lead author and other researchers discovered another population of nearly 1,000 one-dimensional filaments. Pretty cool. Well, scuba diving can be a dangerous activity, and that was especially the case for a diver in Oklahoma who found a live grenade. Authorities in Love County, Oklahoma say the diver found a live CS or tear gas grenade canister in Lake Murray. The diver reported it, and the Oklahoma Highway Patrol bomb squad was called out to the lake to check it out. They were able to date the grenade to somewhere around the early 2000s. Their team says it will detonate and destroy it off-site at a later date.
We've got ourselves another warm day across the area. We'll have sunny skies, a few clouds here and there, and that warms us up into the low 80s by late morning. Heading into the afternoon, we push upper 80s near 90 degrees. Partly cloudy skies build in. Then by this afternoon into the evening hours, we'll have those afternoon pop-up storms. Once we lose the daytime heating around 8, 9 o'clock, they will die out and leave us partly cloudy. Mild tonight, low to mid 60s. We got storm chances again tomorrow, low 90s. Low storm chances Wednesday, low 90s. And then we'll get a break in the rain Thursday and Friday, and it's not even really rain. These are just pop-up storms bringing some activity. But then we head into this upcoming weekend. We've got better chances, at least for more meaningful rainfall across the area with some scattered thunderstorms, temperatures in the 80s, and we'll start to just cool back a little bit, upper 70s, lower 80s as we head into the start of next week. That's checking your forecast. We're back with another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6, a vehicle crashes into a group of motorcycles in Lawrence County, killing 4 and injuring more.
And we've got ourselves a bit of a muggy start across the area ahead of some more pop-up storm chances. We'll talk about that forecast coming up.
And some local artists get a chance to show off their work at the Maple Uncommon Guest House and Gallery in Columbus, Kansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. Just after 6 o'clock on this Monday morning here in the 4 states, and we had some pop-up storms last week and into the weekend. Boy, Saturday, one in Joplin, got a little bit of a downburst from that thing. Got some pretty gusty winds out of that, but outside of that, no strong or severe thunderstorms really out of any of this. We did have some severe thunderstorms, though, as we went into our Saturday evening. We actually did manage to get some of that activity organized in parts of southeast Kansas. That's not looking to be the case for us today. We're looking at just general pop-up thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon. So here we are about 2 o'clock. We start to see a few of these around the area, and they will increase in coverage as we head into the afternoon. I mean, they're still scattered, but there will be more of them. And then, of course, since they feed off the daytime heating, here we are at 6. Then we start to go about 8, 9 o'clock, and once that daytime heating is gone, so are those pop-up storms. Now, they will make a return appearance tomorrow as we head into the afternoon. We get to about noon, a couple of stray showers out there, and then again, we start to see more of these pop-up thunderstorms. Looking at better chances of a few more of them in southeast Kansas, but everybody with an opportunity for some pop-up thunderstorms as we head through the afternoon hours on our Tuesday and into the evening. And then once again, here we are, 8, 9 o'clock, and those pop-up storm chances go away again, unfortunately. Wednesday, looking at very isolated storm chances, so we're looking at fewer, but we do have some better rain chances later this week. We'll take a look at your full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A car crash results in the deaths of 4 people over the weekend in Lawrence County, Missouri. The crash took place around 11 a.m. Saturday morning near Lawrence County between Mount Vernon and Aurora. Troopers say a Toyota Corolla crossed the center line and struck 5 motorcycles. 4 people died, all from Aurora. A total of 10 people riding on the bikes were either killed or suffered serious injuries. The driver, also from Aurora, was arrested for DWI, resulting in the death of 2 or more persons. She suffered serious injuries and was taken to Cox South by ambulance. You can read more about this story, including the names of the victims, on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Car crash in Stone County ends up in the deck of an apartment complex. The crash happened just after 6 p.m. Sunday night in Notch, Missouri, just north of Silver Dollar City. The driver suffered non-life-threatening injuries, what authorities call a single vehicle versus building accident. Emergency crews responded to stabilize the structure and recover the vehicle. Sunday's shooting in Columbia, Missouri takes the life of 2 teens and injures 4 others. It happened early Sunday morning at a vacant residence on Oak Brook Drive. Deputies responded to reports of shots fired and found a party at the residence. Authorities say a verbal altercation escalated into gunfire between two groups, resulting in 6 teens shot. 16 and 17-year-old were killed. 4 teens between the ages of 16 and 19 received non-life-threatening injuries. No suspects have been arrested. Authorities arrest a Lamar, Missouri man for allegedly sharing explicit photographs with an underage girl. The Barton County Sheriff's Office last month began investigating inappropriate communication between the man and girl on social media. Authorities say the man shared the images after evidence was discovered on his personal cell phone. The man was arrested last Wednesday, and police are requesting the charge of sexual exploitation of a minor. And U.S. officials confirm an explosive sound that rattled the nation's capital yesterday afternoon. It was caused by a sonic boom when an F-16 scrambled to intercept a small plane that flew into restricted airspace. The plane later crashed 100 miles outside of Washington, D.C. in Virginia. Nicole D'Antonio has more.
A loud sonic boom shattered the Sunday afternoon quiet in and around Washington, D.C. It was caused when F-16 fighter jets raced to intercept a Cessna Citation airplane that had entered restricted airspace. The pilot did not respond to repeated attempts to contact the plane, and it later crashed in a wooded mountainous area in Western Virginia. A U.S. official says the F-16s did not shoot the aircraft down. Virginia State Police say they found no survivors. Florida businessman John Rumpel told the New York Times his daughter, 2-year-old granddaughter, and nanny were on the plane along with the pilot. In a statement, U.S. Capitol Police said it had monitored the airplane and temporarily placed the Capitol complex here on an elevated alert until the airplane left the area.
A lot of people flagging us down, a lot of bystanders saying they don't know where the sound came from.
The loud boom prompted multiple emergency calls and social media posts like this one from a Fairfax, Virginia couple that was startled when recording a song together. According to the Federal Aviation Administration, the Cessna plane took off from Elizabethton, Tennessee for Long Island MacArthur Airport. Flight trackers showed the plane turning around and flying straight down to Washington, D.C. before crashing in Virginia. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board are now investigating. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Washington.
According to the Associated Press, the plane was registered to a company run by John Rumpel, who was a prominent donor to former President Trump's 2020 campaign. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, some local artists gathered at the Maple Uncommon Guest House and Gallery with hopes of claiming a top prize. Over 63 pieces of locally crafted art were up on display at the gallery, with members of the Joplin Regional Arts Coalition as judges. Officials say the top 3 pieces will land local artists a cash prize and that every piece is up for grabs.
63 unique individual pieces from our artists from the 4 states region. Many of these people are artists. You never know, some of them might be critics. They will be picking their favorite pieces actually throughout the month of June and July.
The event was free and open to the public. Refreshments were provided. Wildcat Glades Education Cottage in Joplin educated the public about an insect collection and display program. The goal of the program was to show adults how to collect and display their own insects. Participants were given their own small insect display kit to practice new skills in collecting and perfect the art.
And entomology is the study of them, so a lot of people are interested in collecting and displaying them, both because they're beautiful and interesting. Insects are amazing creatures that are often dismissed, but they are awesome and they are important in the ecosystem.
The program began at 10 a.m. and ended at noon on Saturday. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, school safety and arming teachers.
Teachers weigh in on what they think would and would not make schools safer. I'm Astrid Martinez with the findings of a new survey.
Plus, the field of Republican candidates begins to grow as the election season heats up, and their message is the economy. And Chris returns with another look at your forecast and whether the 4 states can expect some storms in its future. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back, but first, here's another live look from the square in Lamar, Kansas. Topping Nation Watch this morning, the Oregon lawmakers who continue to take part in the longest walkout in state history are going to get hit in the wallet. Starting today, the Oregon legislature will fine no-show senators $325 per day when they're absent. GOP Senate lawmakers kicked off their walkout on May 3rd, saying they're fighting against, quote, unlawful, hyper-partisan actions. Strike prevented a quorum and delayed talks about state issues, including gun safety and reproductive rights. Oregon's legislative session is scheduled to end June 25th. Well, a fourth person is now in custody in connection with that mass shooting in Broward County, Florida. Investigators say officers arrested the fourth suspect on Sunday, and they are still looking for one more person involved in the Memorial Day shooting that wounded 9 people near the Hollywood Beach Boardwalk. Police say 7 of the 9 people shot are now out of the hospital, but 2 more are still undergoing treatment. 3 people have died in a Sunday shooting in Albuquerque. The Albuquerque Police Department says the shooting took place at a house party where the house's owner was not present. Authorities say dozens of shots were fired and they have recovered bullet casings and guns. When officers arrived on scene, they found 3 people who had died from their injuries. 1 other person was transported to a hospital for treatment and has been released. Well, today marks the day the Treasury Department said the U.S. would run out of cash to pay its debts unless Congress passes a bill to raise the debt ceiling. President Biden signed that bill into law on Saturday, averting a potential economic crisis. Wendy Gillette has more on what's next.
President Biden celebrated the passage of the debt ceiling bill with a round of golf Sunday. But Republicans and Democrats are still bickering about why a deal only came together at the last minute.
They refused to negotiate for 100 days, despite indicating otherwise. They're the ones who brought us to the brink.
House MAGA Republicans were ready to take default hostage in order to pass a radical, hard-right agenda that would have hurt the American people.
Even though the agreement was passed and signed into law, Fitch Ratings warned it could still downgrade the country's credit rating, saying repeated political standoffs and pushing the deal to the final hour lowers confidence in the government.
It's not good for the United States to go through this. It's a political process. It's good they came to resolution. It's good it's behind us.
Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan predicts a mild recession as early as the third quarter.
I think we're at the point now with the Fed having tightened as much as it has, the impacts of the Treasury funding has to come forward.
In this period of economic concern, 2 more candidates will jump into the already crowded field of Republicans running for president. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is expected to make his announcement Tuesday in New Hampshire, and former Vice President Mike Pence is scheduled to formalize his bid Wednesday in Iowa. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
7 candidates are currently running for the GOP nomination, with former President Donald Trump handily at the top of the polls. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a bit of a muggy start out there again this morning. More pop-up thunderstorms later today. We'll talk about when those storms are going to get here and how the rest of the week is looking when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 6:17 now on this Monday morning. We've got another bit of a muggy start, but temperature's not too bad, and we've got more pop-up storms this afternoon. So let's talk about this afternoon. Here we go, about 1, 2 o'clock. We'll start to see a few of these scattered storms popping up, and of course, as the afternoon progresses, we get more of that daytime heating. We will see more of these scattered pop-up storms across the area, and they'll hang on through the mid-evening hours. Then by about 8, 9 o'clock, they die out once we lose that daytime heating. However, they will make an encore appearance as we head into our Tuesday afternoon across the area. We start at noon, a couple of stray showers out there, and then As the day progresses, we got a few more of them in southeast Kansas as we head into tomorrow afternoon, but anyone and everyone could potentially get in on some of these pop-up thunderstorms. But again, as we head into the evening hours and lose that daytime heating, we will end up losing those pop-up thunderstorm chances across the area. We have another round of potential pop-up storms as we head into our Wednesday. Unfortunately, for our Wednesday, these are expected to be considerably more isolated. In fact, they're so isolated that within just a brief time, as you see, they're here and then they are gone earlier than the other storm chances we have for today and tomorrow. Now, these pop-up storms, they're great. They're bringing some rain, but they're not really bringing much meaningful rain. However, as we head down the road, we have better chances of some meaningful rain. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, looking back to the south. Got a few clouds out there, otherwise not looking too bad. And we're looking pretty good as we get a little more daylight here from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400. Of course, just south of Pittsburgh, and our camera at 7th and range line showing us the beautiful colors in the sky as the sun begins to rise. It is clear looking back to the east. There are a few stray clouds out there. Otherwise, not bad. 62, dew point at 59, humidity is at 90%, so that does make it feel a little sticky out there as we get our Monday morning started ahead of these thunderstorm chances. We got 63, Stockton, Nevada, Fort Scott, Iola, 65 in Chanute and Neodesha, 64, Parsons, Pittsburgh, Lamar, Miami, and we're sitting at 63 in Neosho, 61 in Monette. So as we get our morning started, again, mostly clear skies, a couple of clouds out there possible, temperatures warming quickly, low 80s by late morning, so another hot one out there. We head into the afternoon, we're in the upper 80s, near 90 degrees today. Partly cloudy skies by this afternoon ahead of the pop-up storms, and then we'll see those push into the evening hours and they will eventually die out, and we'll be left with partly cloudy skies and another decent overnight as we go back into the low to mid 60s. Now as we look ahead, we're going to see where those meaningful rainfall chances come in. All right, low 90s tomorrow and Wednesday across the area, and then we cool back just a little bit. We're in the upper 80s Thursday, low 80s on Friday and Saturday, but it's this weekend, as you can see, we've got actual meaningful chances of showers and thunderstorms. Now, obviously, this is a few days away. Things could change, but hopefully if they do change, they change for the better, just indicating more rain across the area because we absolutely need more rain, and we need rain that's actually going to add up to something other than just a quick shower across the region. Temperatures low to mid 80s heading into the weekend. We even get back into the upper 70s by Monday with maybe a couple more pop-up storms out there. And then as we head into next work week, we start off initially with some partly cloudy skies, temperatures into the low 80s across the area. Overnight lows, though, for the most part, not looking too bad either. Check out some of these, getting right back up close to 70 again by Wednesday night, and they hang out in the low to mid 60s for the majority of the week. And again, hopefully some meaningful rainfall chances for us this weekend. And the good news is, at least with our thunderstorms today, tomorrow, and into Wednesday, no stronger severe storms expected. We'll be back with more right after this.
Tapping Health Watch this morning, children with drug-resistant epilepsy live longer after surgery for their conditions, and that's according to new research out of Chicago. The report shows that cranial epilepsy surgery reduced the risk of death by more than 80%. Among children with epilepsy, about 20% have a form of the disease that does not respond to medication. Creating a special sensory environment at the dentist office could help young people with autism get better dental care. A new study out of USC found adaptations like turning off overhead lights, projecting slow-moving images, and playing calming music or nature sounds reduce distress during dental visits. Autistic children often struggle with dental health and oral care because of sensory issues. Most children who have been injured by a firearm do not get timely access to mental health care. A new report published in the journal Pediatrics looked at the more than 11,000 young people injured by guns in 2020. Researchers say these children are at nearly double the risk for bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and suicidal thoughts. However, the report shows more than 60% do not get mental health services within 6 months. Well, gun violence is considered a serious public health threat in the U.S., and now a new survey shows teachers are split about whether arming themselves would make schools safer. Astrid Martinez has more.
Gun violence and school safety are top of mind for every community, especially for parents, students, and teachers. Now, a Rand Corporation survey finds 1 in 5 teachers say they would be interested in carrying a gun to school. 20% believe teachers carrying a gun would make schools safer, but 54% believed armed teachers would make schools less safe. And 26% feel either way, it would not make a difference.
I think that they're just under a lot of stress.
Emily Rovar is a licensed social worker at Gen Psych. She says teachers today bear a greater burden.
Not only are they teaching our children, they are having to be mental health professionals in a way, dealing with high emotions, dealing with kids in distress. And then in the back of their mind, they always have the thought of what if someone does come in this school.
And while guns are certainly a big worry, the survey shows teachers' top safety concern is bullying. Rovar says social media plays a big role and makes situations a lot worse.
It is something that is really pervasive and it's increasing. And it's something that we need to talk about and do something about.
Her suggestions: increasing the presence of safety officers and mental health professionals in schools, steps that could help students and their teachers feel safer. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
Survey also found teachers feel it is important to have a system of threat reporting and intervention. Most are confident that safety threats would be reported. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves another warm day today. Mostly clear skies, a few clouds here and there, pushing into the low 80s by late morning. Highs today, upper 80s, pushing near 90 degrees. Partly cloudy skies, and we've got those pop-up thunderstorm chances once we head into the afternoon and mid-evening hours. And once we lose the daytime heating, those pop-up storms will die out. And that'll leave us with partly cloudy skies overnight, mild low to mid-60s. We'll have another look, check out your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 6:30, bystanders prevent a homeless man from leaving after he grabs a 5-year-old girl during Third Thursday in Joplin.
And we've got ourselves a bit of a muggy start out there this morning. We have more pop-up storms in our forecast. We'll talk about when they'll get here and how the rest of the week is shaping up coming up.
And KOAM Shagun Bomdale takes us to Galena, Kansas to ride the rides and enjoy the festivities of this year's Galena Days celebration.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we've got a little bit of a muggy start out there. Temperatures aren't bad. It's just the humidity is up because we've got another round of those afternoon pop-up storms. We're in that summertime period where we get that daytime heating. We do get an opportunity or two for some pop-up thunderstorms. Now, unfortunately, the pop-up storms, they do give us rain. It's just not really meaningful rainfall, but we do have some better chances of that later this week. So let's head into this afternoon. Here we go, about 2 o'clock. Not much changing on this. We got the pop-up storms getting going, and we'll see a few more of them scattered across the area as we head through the afternoon and into the mid-evening hours. And then about 8, 9 o'clock, they do begin to die out across the area, but they will make at least one more encore presentation as we head into Tuesday afternoon. A couple of stray showers by noon, and then more of those pop-up thunderstorms. A few more of them in southeast Kansas through the afternoon, but each of us could see a pop-up storm or two. And just like the last several days, they'll persist until the sun goes down. Once they lose that daytime heating, they will be gone across the area. Quick look outside at the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line. Looking good so far. Couple of clouds out there, otherwise not bad. And sun's starting to rise. There's our indicator on that traffic signal there from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400. Here's what it looks like as it comes up this morning. Sitting at 63 in Joplin. Here's what we're talking about. Dew point is at 60. Humidity is at 90%, which makes it feel quite muggy across the area. We got 62 Lamar and Fort Scott, 65 Chanute and Neodesha, 62 Miami, and 63 in Neosho. We get our morning started. We'll have a few clouds, otherwise not bad. Warm, low 80s. We head into the afternoon, get those pop-up thunderstorm chances later today. Temperatures pushing upper 80s, near 90. And as we head into this evening, the pop-up storms do eventually start to die out. We're left with partly cloudy skies, mild conditions, low to mid-60s. As mentioned, there's some more meaningful rainfall on the way. We'll take another full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Prosecutors file felony kidnapping charges against a homeless man after authorities say he grabbed a child at Joplin's Third Thursday last month. Police say a 5-year-old girl was by a bouncy house near 3rd and Main when 28-year-old Johnny Earhart grabbed her. The girl's mother and bystanders confronted Earhart and prevented him from getting away. He was then arrested. The child was unharmed. Earhart also faces charges in McDonald County of felony vehicle tampering from an incident in January. Missouri Highway Patrol wants to remind people to remember their wake at the lake this summer. Summertime means more time at lakes around Missouri, and increased boat traffic can also mean an increase in wakes. Troopers seek to minimize not only damage to docks and erosion to the shorelines, but the danger to other lake goers. And while they say operating a boat at plowing speed is a necessity at times, it should not be the norm. For a full list of safety do's and don'ts, you can visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And please have a safe summer. Garages across Baxter Springs decluttered as part of a citywide garage sale. Saturday's sale attracted hundreds of eager shoppers. The event featured an extensive selection of items ranging from furniture and clothing to electronics and collectibles. With participation from several households, the sale not only allowed residents to declutter their homes, but also fostered a vibrant sense of community among neighbors. In Old Mining Town Days, it kicked off in Granby, Missouri over the weekend. Families of all ages had the opportunity to get outside and celebrate the town. The event included performances from live bands, games for the kiddos, and a variety of food vendors.
Old Mining Town Days, and since the beginning of our town in 1850, we've had celebrations, but since 1984, it's been called Old Mining Town Days, and it's just to recognize the amazing history of this area. We had lead mining here, we had some tough characters back in the old days, and so we like to commemorate those tough characters and their wives once every year.
You can always find out more about upcoming local events on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Galena Days Carnival, another annual community event, kicked off with great enthusiasm. KOAM's Shagun Bomadelli has more.
The carnival, which started on Friday and runs through the weekend, brought together locals and visitors for a weekend of fun-filled activities and attractions.
It's a celebration of the anniversary of the formation of Galena, and it's basically a chance for the community to come out, celebrate the community and be a part of the community. We have carnival rides, family things. They have music, actually live music every single night. And it's just a way for the community to come out and kick off summer.
Families enjoyed thrilling rides, delicious foods, and live entertainment throughout the day.
As you can tell, we have the carnival behind us, so that's probably attracting kids and families. And it's just a good, wholesome way to kick off the summer. To come out and be a family and just, be a part of your community.
Vendors like Lisa Crouch expressed satisfaction with the turnout and praised the community's support.
Actually, one of the vendors here, we're with State Farm, here locally in Galena with Grant Deardorff State Farm. And it's just for ways for the people to come out and get to familiarize themselves with the businesses that's out here and what community supports we have, like Galena Museum, the history of museums here, like the Masons are out here. They provide the food, Christian Motorcycle Association. So there's several vendors and several people here just being a part of the community.
In Galena, Shagun Bomadelli, KOAM.
Galena Mayor Ashley Grove says proceeds from the event help local entities such as youth sporting leagues and volunteer firefighters. Well, this morning we're discussing the history of LGBTQ+.
For over 15 years, Bob Skiba has curated the John J. Wilcox Jr. LGBTQ+ archives at the William Way Center in Philadelphia. While the Liberty Bell, Betsy Ross House, and Independence Hall get all the attention, Skiba says other stories need to be told too, and that's where historical markers can help. There's one in Rittenhouse Square, the Rittenhouse Square neighborhood rather, that marks the spot of Dewey's, a hamburger joint where LGBTQ+ customers were denied service back in the 1960s.
The sit-in was organized. It was based on the sit-ins done by African Americans in the country. The first LGBTQ+ historical marker in the city is at the corner of 6th and Chestnut Streets, directly across the street from Independence Hall.
That brings us to our question for you this morning. Do you celebrate Pride Month? So far, 13% of you say that you do, 87% of you say that you do not. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. Members of Generation Z have waged a mini revolt against smartphones, going back to the recent past and embracing flip phone technology.
And we've got those pop-up thunderstorm chances across the area. We'll take a look at that forecast and when more meaningful rainfall chances will get here when we come back. But first, here's another live look from the historic square in Lamar.
In Consumer Watch this morning, as worries grow about the future of work and artificial intelligence, a new study finds AI contributed to nearly 4,000 job losses last month. That's according to data from executive coaching company Challenger Gray and Christmas. Ever since OpenAI launched ChatGPT last fall, companies have wasted no time implementing AI for administration and clerical tasks. This comes as hundreds of experts last week signed a letter saying artificial intelligence poses a risk of extinction to humanity on the scale of nuclear war and pandemics. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse pulled in an impressive $120 million in its opening weekend domestically. That's the best start ever for a Sony animation picture. This second animated feature film follows the adventures of Miles Morales in the spider suit. Also earned more than $208 million at the global box office. Today, the U.S. Mint is expected to ship out its latest coin in the American Women Quarter Series. It features former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt and her legacy, not only in the White House with her husband, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but also her role as the first chairperson of the then United Nations Commission on Human Rights. That was later replaced by the UN Human Rights Council. Do you ever feel like you or your kids spend a little too much time staring at a smartphone screen? Well, members of Gen Z are leading a mini revolution towards unplugging by looking back to technology from the early 2000s. Jared Hill explains.
Is going dumb the new way to get smart? So-called dumb phones, that is.
Why my friends and I only take our flip phones out.
Gen Zers like Sammy Palazzolo have been forging a path away from the constant connection of smartphones in search of a digital detox.
We realize that every single problem that we have on a night out, everything that leads to us crying, everything that leads to us having a bad hookup, everything that leads to us having a bad time, stems from our phone.
Smartphones still dominate the mobile phone market, but mobile tech companies are reporting a rise in sales in the U.S. for their most basic models, thanks to Gen Z.
Young people themselves are kind of self-censoring and saying, I don't really need the negative mental health and social harms that come with an always connected life.
The flip back to what are called feature phones, good for just a quick call or basic texting, comes as the U.S. Surgeon General issued a new advisory warning of the mental health effects that social media and too much screen time are having on young people.
We know, for example, that when teens are using more than 3 hours a day of social media, they're facing double the risk of depression and anxiety symptoms.
Young or
A handful of companies are also trying to penetrate an in-between market with phones designed to use only certain apps like those for streaming music or navigation. That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a muggy start across the area and a little bit mild. We're 63 in Joplin. Dew point's up there, though, at 60. The humidity's at 90%, and that's what's making it feel a little sticky this morning. We're at 63 Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, 65 Chanute, Neodesha, 62 Miami, 64 in Neosho and Carthage. As we mentioned, we get through our morning. We're mostly sunny, a few passing clouds out there. Otherwise, not bad, but warm and muggy back into the lower 80s. We head into this afternoon. We've got temperatures pushing upper 80s near 90. And then we'll get those pop-up thunderstorm chances this afternoon. More of them tomorrow, a few on Wednesday. And by a few, I mean maybe one or two. Low 90s as we go into our Tuesday and Wednesday. No rain chances so far on Thursday and Friday. More meaningful rain chances, though, as we head into this weekend, low to mid 80s. So hopefully these rain chances increase because we certainly need more actual accumulating rainfall across a wider part of the area. Well, it's Monday, we know that, but you know what? We've got the perfect way to make this work week start off right. We're going to celebrate with some birthdays and anniversaries, and it is a list that is about a mile long, and we're going to take a look at that coming up. But first, we're going to check in and see what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Vladimir Dutit. Coming up on CBS Mornings, Emmy and Tony Award-winning actor Tony Shalhoub will talk with us about his new movie, Flamin' Hot, and the series finale of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Monday birthdays here in the 4 states. We're starting in Galena with Piper Maggie celebrating birthday number 3. Happy birthday, Piper.
And Levi Peak is turning 10 years old this year. Happy birthday, Levi. In Girard with love from Mom and Dad.
Jackson Schwab celebrating birthday number 12 over in Franklin. Happy birthday to you, Jackson.
All right, in Jasper, Hayden Buchanan turns 14 years old.
And Alex Evans over in Frontenac celebrating number 20. Says happy birthday, Alex, from all of your family.
And Winter Jacobs is now 24 years old. Looks like she just graduated in Pittsburgh there. And we got a special note saying your aunt and uncle are so proud of you.
We've also got Amy Vaughn in Neosho celebrating birthday number 43. Birthday wishes coming from the Cornerstone staff.
Orrin Humble turning double 4s, 44 years old for Orrin in Pittsburgh.
And Brian Natalini celebrating birthday number 60 in Columbus. Says he needs to stop by Natalini's Automotive and say hi.
Hi and happy birthday. Mary Franklin is 65 in Girard. Little note here that says, we love you, Mom. Love your daughters.
And we've got Shelly Inman celebrating a birthday in Columbus. Happy birthday, Shelly.
And love from all the grandkids going out to Mr. Ray Scales in McCune.
And we've got Patty Robinson celebrating a birthday in Columbus. Happy birthday, Patty.
All right, belated birthday wish going out to Nancy Johnson. All right, yes, Nancy is 72, and that gentleman there on the left would be her grandson. Happy birthday, a little extended family member of KOAM here.
And we've got Jaden and Gracie Baugh celebrating their first anniversary over in Carthage. Happy anniversary to the Baughs.
And JD and Leslie Miner celebrating their second anniversary in Columbus.
And TJ and Trisha Pike celebrating their 12th anniversary in Nevada. Happy anniversary to the Pikes.
All right. And Dale and Ornona Bogner celebrating their 23rd anniversary. That's pretty cool there. Bogners are in Parsons.
And we've got Tandy and Carmen Pike celebrating their 34th anniversary in Nevada. Happy anniversary to you.
Michael and Carol Clyburn celebrating 46 years together in Galena.
And Jim and Betty Burton celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. Very happy anniversary to the Burtons.
Mike and Natalie Nelson is celebrating an anniversary as well, and they are in Columbus.
And in Sheldon, it's anniversary time for Justin and Sarah Hancock. Very happy anniversary to you.
All right. And, you know, I mentioned Miss Nancy Johnson's grandson on her left there. Well, there he is again. That's our very own camera operator, news assistant, Mr. Gabe Hansen. Hope you had a wonderful birthday on Saturday. That's him clapping there in the back.
Hey, he's got to celebrate his birthday, right?
Yeah.
Well, I hope it was a great one, Gabe. Our list continues as if it wasn't long enough. We go with Bill and Judith Rayner in Overland Park, Kansas, celebrating their 40th anniversary with anniversary wishes coming from your friends in Erie.
Right, Mr. and Mrs. Bauer celebrating 2 years together. Jesse and Beth Bauer, congratulations.
And Sally Saporito in Columbus celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Sally.
Milo Kellerman celebrating a birthday up in Iola, Kansas.
And Kenny White over in Scammon celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Kenny.
Oh, and if Milo's celebrating a birthday, he did it right because it's on his anniversary. Milo and Janice Kellerman, 50 years together. Can't forget your anniversary or you forgot your birthday.
Oh, absolutely, right?
And
it's an easy way to make it easy to remember. Chad Eddington celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Chad.
And Teresa Martin turning 68 years old in Uniontown.
Now that was a fantastic list. We'd like for every list to be like this, although the folks in the control room would not like for every list to be like this. However, if you want to help us irritate them and celebrate with you, Tanya, what can they do?
All they have to do is send those birthdays and anniversaries to this email. Please get them to us at least 24 hours in advance. Birthdays with an S at KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're on our website, make sure you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. It's easy to do. You get special deals from local businesses. You also get a happy birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So head over to KOAMnewsnow.com, sign up for that birthday club today. All right, I did want to just recap one more time on our 7-day. Upper 80s today, near 90 pop-up storms this afternoon. Same again for us on Tuesday. Low 90s, isolated showers Wednesday. No rain expected Thursday, Friday. Better storm chances this weekend, low to mid 80s. Now, coming up, when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14, we're taking you inside of a federal prison. Not to do time, but to watch a cooking show. Federal inmate Willie Hampton is turning into a social media star thanks to a cooking show that he hosts from his prison cell. From beef and broccoli to fried rice, Hampton seems to find a way to get the job done in some creative ways. We've got that story and a lot more coming up when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A car crash in Stone County ends up in the deck of an apartment complex. Crash happened just after 6 p.m. Sunday night in Notch, Missouri, just north of Silver Dollar City. The driver suffered non-life-threatening injuries in what authorities call a single vehicle versus building accident. Emergency crews responded to stabilize the structure and recover the vehicle. Miami Elk Lodge hosted a Jerky Turkey Olympics event to benefit the Miami Animal Alliance. The event consisted of teams of 4 competing in low-skill games for prizes and, of course, bragging rights. Prizes went to the top 3 team finishers: best name, best outfit, team that sells the most spectator tickets, and the team that donated the most pet supplies. Wildcat Glades Education Cottage in Joplin taught about an insect collection and display program. The goal of the program was to show adults how to collect and display their own insects. Participants were given their own small insect display kit to practice new skills in collecting and perfect the art of mounting. Some local artists met at the Maple and Common Guest House and Gallery in Columbus, Kansas, with hopes of claiming top prize. Over 63 pieces of locally crafted art were up on display at the gallery with members of the Joplin Regional Arts Coalition as judges. Officials say the top 3 pieces will land local artists a cash prize, but every piece is up for grabs. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We are warm and muggy again today. Temperatures upper 80s, near 90. Partly cloudy skies by this afternoon, then pop-up thunderstorms across the area through the afternoon, mid-evening hours. We lose the daytime heating. We lose the storms. Partly cloudy overnight. We go into the low to mid-60s. More pop-up storms tomorrow afternoon, low 90s. Maybe an isolated shower Wednesday, still low 90s. Breaking the rain Thursday and Friday, and better storm chances as we head into this weekend, low to mid-80s.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we're making tropical pulled pork sliders in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
All right, your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. The TSA is beginning to use facial recognition to get flyers through security. Coming up on CBS Mornings, while it may shorten your wait at the airport, see how the controversial program could put your privacy at risk.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, Kavanaugh Studevin from Carl Junction's Chamber of Commerce is stopping by to tell us all about an upcoming Second Tuesday celebration.
Plus the latest on live streaming from the Red Planet. And if there is life on Mars, are they celebrities? We're going to find out. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning, 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.